Most people underestimate the effort required to learn web development. With the ever increasing number of technologies out there, it is no wonder that most people fail when learning to code. I was lucky enough that I was ignorant of the breadth of technologies, particularly for web development, that I managed to avoid some of the following pitfalls. Whether you're doing a course or a boot camp, often the problem is that they give you brief explanations for a topic, they give you just a couple of practice sessions building a little piece of an application, and then you're on to the next technology before you have even built a good strong foundation of, if you want to make it to the long term, you need understanding. The way that things happened for me was that I just jumped right in to learn what are the very fundamentals of web development: HTML, which is the structure of a web page, and CSS, which is the styling. I spent a good amount of time just learning these two. And right after that, when it was time, I decided that I was going to become an expert in JavaScript so that I could give functionality to my websites. I believe correctly and incorrectly that that was the only thing I needed. And yes, you definitely can make it. You don't need anything more than HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. But the reality is that to become a professional out there, to get a job or to work with certain clients, you're gonna have to learn probably a front end framework and how to build web servers. Now, I did not know that. So I spent a lot of time, again, on the fundamentals so that when I had the painful realization that I was just scratching the top of the iceberg, thankfully, I knew enough that whatever came my way next, I was able to digest it and put it in its own place. Let me see how to better explain this. I think this is better explained with a story. When I was working in my own freelancing company, we had a few interns. They were very bright and they knew the basics of JavaScript, but in our own code bases for our clients, we were building them with a framework called React.js. Now, React.js, it's for those of you who don't know what a framework is. Imagine our main tool for building web applications is JavaScript, the coding language. Now, React is a framework, meaning it's like a, a tool built from another tool, which is JavaScript, to facilitate a lot of the to facilitate building modern web applications. So we required a lot of our interns to learn React in the first 2 weeks of their internship so that they could contribute to some of the projects and learn how we were building modern web applications. Over time, a problem that showed up was that we realized that the interns, they they knew that they were coding in JavaScript. They knew that they were working on a framework called React.js, but they did not know what part of the application was just vanilla JavaScript and what part of the application was the React implementation. Now, this does not mean that they could not contribute to the project, but the lack of understanding, because we had them learn everything so quickly, meant that often they they will get stuck in problems that were not we get paid to solve our clients' problems. Instead of wondering how to solve the problem, they were stumbling upon the coding aspect of the work. Now imagine you're a construction worker, and instead of wondering how you're gonna implement building a house, you're wondering how are you gonna frame it, because you just learned too quickly and you don't know how to do it. That was basically the fundamental problem there. Just in case I lost you, what I'm trying to say is that spending more time again with the fundamentals, understanding what HTML is, understanding what styling with CSS is understanding what really is vanilla JavaScript before you go and jump into learning any framework is it's just gonna pay dividends on you in the future. To do a little recap, we get paid to solve people's problems. The more time you spend learning how to use the most basic tools, the tools that you are gonna use every day, it's just gonna make it that much easier in the future when you have to implement more complex solutions for your clients. You're gonna make sure that you are spending time on that which is gonna get you a paycheck and not on what you should be an expert. This does not mean that you need to learn everything. Of course, Googling stuff is part of our everyday job. But if you really want to stand out from others, making sure that you're an expert makes all the difference. HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Whatever it is that you want to do in the future, it doesn't matter. If you learn these three deeply, whatever is it that you want to do next, it's gonna be that much easier. Start coding. Peace.